have a very special guest here today. It is none other than UNC women's basketball star forward Alyssa Ustby. Alyssa, how are you doing today?
Hey Nick, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to have you on. I have
Thank
a
you.
lot that I want to talk to you about on this show, and you're a very interesting student athlete. You're involved in many different things, but before you even stepped foot on campus in Chapel Hill, you were a three-sport star in high school. Did you ever consider playing softball or soccer in college?
Yeah, I mean, if it were up to me, I would want to play all three sports in college. But I would say the next sport I wanted to play, in addition to basketball, was softball. So for a while, I was entertaining the idea of dual sporting. But I figured I should just specialize for my college career and stick to one.
For those of you who don't know about her high school career, won a state championship as a shortstop, correct?
Yes,
And you hold the school record for stolen bases.
correct.
That's pretty interesting facts there. Now, were there ever conversations with programs about going to play dual sports?
A little bit. And I mean, rightfully so. I think some coaches are a little bit more protective of their athlete and kind of want them to just focus on their sport because um, it's a long, grueling season, like no matter what sport you play. And I think once I started to understand what that actually means and what that entails, I kind of veered away from the idea of dual sporting. And for those people that I know a few people who do dual sport and they are different athletes, I can tell you that.
Oh, that's for sure. Now, why Carolina? When you made that initial decision to go to Carolina, the program wasn't where it is right at this current moment. Coach Banghart takes over. She was in her first year. Why did you choose North Carolina?
There are a handful of reasons why I chose North Carolina. I would say one, like you mentioned, where the program was at, I felt like I could come in and make an impact, whether that was no matter what my role was, I was ready to make an impact. Two, the coaching staff and the girls that were there kind of were establishing a culture that I could see myself being a part of and being a part of the evolution of it. And then thirdly, I felt like the national wide known brand of North Carolina that would attract the best in whatever aspect of life that those people do, whether it's sports, academics, just whatever it may be. Like UNC is going to attract the best people there, and so I wanted to be in an environment where everybody's just like a stud at what they do because I'm a big believer in that the environment you surround yourself with, you're eventually going to pick up those habits, and that's the type of person you're going to become. So those were my little list of reasonings.
Very good reasoning at that. Now, you get onto campus, and unlike a traditional college student, your class had to deal with the transition during COVID. What was that like for you, having to not only transition to a new school, but try to make your mark on the program as a basketball player as well?
It was definitely tough and brought a lot of challenges, but I think because my class didn't know what a typical college first year of college looked like or what a basketball season looked like without COVID, we kinda were, like, navigating a new space along with everybody else. So, there was some unity in that sense and that we're all going through it together, um, but overall, I think our team did a really good job of trying to stick together, just because of all the uncertainties, and then trying to like complete your schoolwork and still showing up and competing every single day, practicing every day. We didn't take any like leniency or any days off in comparison to a regular season, so it was just a grind with a lot of like mental components to also have to deal with.
So you come in, you have a strong freshman year, but I want to jump to your sophomore year. You make a run to the Sweet 16. You run into South Carolina. As we all know, they went on to win the national title. What did that game and that matchup kind of teach you about not only yourself, but your team?
I think it showed us what we're capable of. Um, it's only one team comes out with a victorious end of their season, and 300 plus end their season with a loss. And so because that like margin is just like it's just such a small chance. Um, it kinda seems unrealistic at times because you're like, "Oh, we have to be the final team and win all the way through." It seems so out of reach sometimes, but that Sweet 16 run was kinda surreal because we're like, "Wow, we're in the moment, we have the opportunity to do it," and then so that just kinda fired everybody up, and we're just, like, on an upward trajectory.
I don't know about most North Carolina fans, but for myself, watching your junior year team was probably the most fun I've had watching you girls because it seemed like every other day you were beating a top 25 team. Talk to me a little bit about that team and kind of that chemistry you built because it seemed like there was such a great culture surrounding this group.
Yeah, my junior year team definitely had just a more refined culture and a lot more chemistry than the years we've had previously. And just like you said, it was a fun team to watch, and that's just how it felt on the inside too. Like we were all super excited, we were rooting for each other. Um, and I mean, college basketball is hard. Like a lot of us girls have come from our high schools where we were like the leading scorer or we're the leading rebounder or whatever stat it may be. And now you come into a team where you may not be that anymore, that your role may have shifted. And so I think where a lot of teams run into issues is that they kind of let their ego get in the way, and that kind of is like just detrimental to their success. And that's going to be across the board for all teams, but it's how you handle that. And so I felt like we had a lot of maturity and a lot of experience to understand those components that come with it, and then be able to just use that as fuel to get everybody to improve every single day on the parts of their game that they want to get better in, and then just ultimately transfer it on game day.
Now, as a leader on the team and seeing your experience, how do you relay that to the incoming freshmen or transfers? We all have to be on the same page. Egos have to be checked at the door.
Mhm. Yep, this is a challenge I'm really excited for because we have 8 newcomers and we have 7 returners. So we have a lot of fresh faces coming in, which is just so exciting. But I think the most important thing is gonna be honest and open communication because there's a huge learning curve freshman year. Like, no matter how ready you feel, there's gonna be something that you just didn't expect, whether that's a mental component, physical component, skill work component. But as a leader on the team and with a couple of my other fellow leaders as well, we're just going to be there every step of the way. Like keep encouraging them. Hey, you didn't like do this skill work correctly how the coach wanted. Here, let me I'll pull you aside and let's go work on it, and then we'll come back to the drill. Just little things like that to remind that freshman or that transfer that they're so capable of doing what they're being asked, and B, that we're right with them through all the ups and downs.
I was gonna mention, I, I know Coach Banghart arrived the year before you did, but I kind of tie your class to her and where the program is heading. Heading into what is your senior year, how do you think that that's going to transpire now? Because obviously you have deep aspirations to go deep in the tournament.
Yeah, so my class was Courtney's first recruiting class, and so we have a lot of pride in that, and every day we're trying to give her our best because she's done so much for us in terms of recruiting us and allowing us to be a part of her program, which she's building something really special, and it's just an honor to be a part of something like that that incredible. So all of us are really just trying to leave our mark. We want to leave this program better than when we found it, and we'll know if that's true if the culture and the mentality carries over for the years when we're well past college and we're coming back as alums and we're supporting our girls. And so just trying to make sure that culture and that mark stays.
Let's talk about Coach Banghar for a minute. On the outside, she is somebody that you would want to run through a wall for. She just gives you that persona, just happy, energetic. You see her on the sideline; she's always fired up. Tell us a little bit more about her and what we might not know about the Tar Heels head coach.
Coach Banghart is just such a real person. Like you can come to her with anything, whether it can be basketball related, not basketball related, and she's always there to help. She provides great perspective. She is a resource and a tool. She can connect you with people. If she doesn't know the answer, she will for sure run to the ends of the earth to make sure you get the answer that you're looking for or the help that you need. And just having someone like that in the position of your head coach is just like it just alleviates so much pressure because I know at the end of the day that like this coach is gonna stand by me. She's gonna like talk about me well behind my back. She's gonna make sure that like just all the eggs are in a row, ducks are in a row. Um, so she's someone that you can rely on, um, and she's someone that I look up to.
Now, speaking about those ducks in a row, there's two big stories in college sports right now, and that's the NIL and the transfer portal. We're going to get into the NIL because there's a lot to discuss about that. But what is your take on the transfer portal as a student athlete who has put together an impressive resume? And let's be honest, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of recruiting that's going on behind the scenes. What is your take on the whole transfer portal and the process of it?
I would say the transfer portal and the process in of itself is harder for me to talk about because I haven't been in it. And I just think it's one of those things that unless you experience it, you just don't have the holistic perspective. Um, but from what I know, I feel like the transfer portal is it's kind of a it's kind of just like a hot stove. You got people jumping in, jumping out. It's definitely like when I've looked at my phone, I'm like, oh my gosh, that person's transferring. What? Like it's I don't know. It brings a little bit of excitement, but my perspective is more behind on the athlete, and I'm just hoping that like the athlete is doing okay, like mentally, and their relationships with their coaches and players are okay. Because I mean, nobody goes into college wanting to transfer. So as much as like kind of fun hot topic it is to like talk about and see on social media, I'm just like obviously as an athlete, I'm just wishing the best for like the people that are in the transfer portal.
You guys had 2 subtractions via the transfer portal, but you also had 3 additions. And I don't know if you've seen it or follow it as closely as I do. The rankings have it favorably where they see your transfer class as one of the best in the country. Give us a little insight on what you know about the 3 transfers and how they might impact the program this year and beyond.
Yeah, we have 3 incredible transfers coming into our program, and I'm so happy that they chose us. I think the biggest impact they're gonna have, across the board from Maria from Boston College, Lexi from Iowa State, and India from Stanford is they're gonna contribute to the culture that we're building. So when we're looking at athletes coming into our program, that's just such a huge piece because as we saw last year, like with kind of the same team that we had sophomore year, it's that culture and it's that chemistry that ultimately are going to give you a successful year rather than just having like a bunch of studs that just kind of don't mesh well together. So with that in mind, like these transfers that we got, we're super pumped about, and they're going to add so many just dimensions and layers to our program on and off the court.
Now, is it a fair statement to say that the transfer portal's kinda like a one-year free agency?
I would compare it for sure. Yeah.
It's it just feels like that given, you know, you have that free ability to transfer, you might not get a lot of playing time, like an India and Stanford, where you're trying to find more of a role. Or, you wanna be closer to home or things like that. The circumstances divvy and differ, and like you said, but it just seems like it's all chaos, and I'm sure that you all as student athletes see it because you might not have the same teammates that you started with. You
Mhm.
might have a classmate that decides, "You know what? I'm gonna transfer. I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else."
Yeah, I think the transfer portal is just like the one word I would describe it as would be opportunity. Like we would have never thought in like a couple months ago how our team would look right now in terms of what we have for our roster and who are coming in, just because that's how much it can change things. So I think it's really cool. There's a lot of opportunity for all people, whether they're in the transfer, like going into the transfer portal, coming into a new program. Programs kind of get some diamonds like we did. So we're really excited.
And now for the NIL. The NCAA allows student athletes like yourself to profit off their name, image, and likeness. What has that been like for you, and how much have you really been focused on that aspect?
It's been a really cool opportunity. Um, I think my favorite thing about it is just like expanding my knowledge into the business world and kind of seeing myself and my name and what I do at college as a brand. and then just trying to like learn how to negotiate with companies, reach out to companies, film content, and just produce stuff for advertisements and whatever it may be. I think it's just kind of giving me a well-rounded experience, and I think it's really cool that a lot of brands are participating in it because I mean, not everybody has to reach out to athletes to help do their marketing and such. But I think it's awesome.
Now to go with the creating content, is that where your absolute ascension on TikTok came from?
Yeah, I've always wanted I mean, I've always, like, watched content on, like, TikTok and Instagram and just, like, scrolling through, and I used to be the one that, like, never posted anything because I was like, "Oh, it's just so embarrassing, I don't wanna do that," and then I was like, "You know what? I think to start, you just gotta go for it," and so I just kind of found something that I was interested in, which I love playing multiple sports, as we talked about, in high school playing 3 different sports, and I thought it'd be so cool if I went around and tried to try other college level, athletes' training for their sports, and that was kind of my biggest hit on TikTok, that got a lot of interest. So, just the, content creation of it, the meeting of the athletes, like, it gave me a perfect reason to meet new friends, and that's probably my favorite part about it, and then the content and NIL stuff kinda just follows.
Now, I was just gonna ask you about that as well, your life as a UNC athlete. Those videos, it's no joke, and you're a well-trained athlete. Tell us a little bit more about that. What sport was the hardest one for you?
I think the hardest sport for me was swimming, and I only say that because I've like, growing up, I've just, like, learned how to swim to survive just in case I needed it, not necessarily as a sport or to swim for time or speed or whatever it is because, like, I can do sprints on a court and be exhausted and, like, catching my breath, but when you're swimming and you're exhausted, you have to hold your breath underwater, and that just isn't it for me. I have so much respect for all those guys and girls who are crushing it in the pool.
So it's safe to say you're not gonna start up a swimming career.
No, not at all. Please keep me away.
All right, we'll make a note of that. Now, prior to your junior year, you go on to play with Team USA in the 3-on-3 trials. Talk to me more about that and that experience in itself. It's a different game from what we were watching.
Yeah, so my 3-on-3 experience started, after we went to the Sweet 16, and all teams that made it to the Sweet 16 got an invite to go participate in a 3-on-3 tournament that was just held by USA Basketball, and after performing in that tournament, one of the coordinators came up to me and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to try out for our 3-on-3 team." And I was like, "Me? Would you want me?" And yes, I have confidence in myself, but I was like, "Oh, okay. That's cool." And so they flew me out to Miami, Florida, where I was with 11 other girls, and, um, we went through, like, a week of rigorous training. We did, like, 2-hour practices in the morning and 2-hour practices at night, and so it was literally like wake up, go to practice, then nap until lunch, get up, eat lunch, go to practice, and then go to bed right after because I was so drained, but it was an experience that I wouldn't trade anything for. Um, and then the first place we went to was the Dominican Republic, and we played about as a team, we played 18 games, and I played in 15 of them. And the next the next round, we went to Romania and competed there as well. So, yeah, a 3-on-3 game, I think, is definitely more my style. It's high motor, high intensity, really physical. It's kind of for it's really for like swing players. I think swing players have a lot of success in that. And what I mean by that are people who like to shoot threes, drive to the basket, post up, shoot pull ups, kind of just do everything. I mean, all basketball players can participate, obviously, but I think for someone with my style, it's definitely a very attractive game.
Now, you bring up 2 things that UNC basketball fans will definitely know about you: high motor and you play the game physically. Now, with do you ever worry about foul trouble when you're on the floor?
Oh, yeah, a lot because because I know how quickly you can pick up fouls, like, and if you get 2 in the first half, you're sitting on the bench until halftime.
I'm s I'm sure Coach Banghart, definitely has some headaches, when you get 2 quick fouls on the court.
Oh, yeah, I drive her crazy with that. Yep, that's
I
something
think
I'm
you drive
working
us
on.
I think you drive us all crazy with that
I
because we're
know.
sitting there watching, we're like, "No, she's got 2 fouls." Or late in the game when you have 4, you're like, "Oh, no, here we go again, not this."
I know, it's yeah, it's not fun.
Especially in a position where you're in the post and you're fighting for rebounds and you're making aggressive plays. When you pick up that first foul, does that make you change the way you approach how to play?
For sure. Um, and I feel like some of my fouls, they don't really come from me guarding on ball. They come from jumping up and getting a rebound and knocking somebody over. Or they're just kinda like these, like, incidental fluke fouls that you don't really see someone get. Like, I feel like I get a couple fouls a game where you're like, "Wow, I haven't seen that foul before." And, like, those are the ones that I pick up. So that's why, especially on defense, I'm making sure I'm not fouling anybody. But then in turn, on the offensive end, as I've gained more body control and not so now I don't have to worry about as much about charges because my ball handling's gotten better, my reads have gotten better. So now offensively, I just try to draw fouls and then get the other girls that I don't want defending me anymore in foul trouble. Now I can watch them sit on the bench as I run up and down and have fun.
That is a good, mindset to have. Now, heading into your senior year, what is the one thing that you're looking to improve with terms of your game?
One thing I've been working a lot on is my form. Um, I feel like I have a pretty good and comfortable form around like 15 foot and in, but when I stretch out to the 3-point line, I have a little bit of inconsistency and a little bit of a hitch in my shot that I'm trying to work out. And I've already seen like a lot of progress in the short spring workouts through the month of May. So I'm really excited about that. And then also just I mean, I think every year is just like growing in terms of the reads of the basketball game. So that just comes with more experience playing against new players. And I know that will come naturally as we have a big incoming group on their way to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get into that big group, how do you go about working on that form? Is it just reps? Is it drills? Take me into kind of what you've been working on.
It's just getting in the gym, reps after reps after reps, but also making sure that your reps are quality and they're follow the form that you wanna have. Like, I'm trying to get my form from, like, being, like, too high and kinda keeping it a little down low, and so just last night, I was shooting in the driveway. Like, it really doesn't matter where you're at. So I'm shooting in the driveway with my dad who's rebounding for me, and I'm just doing form shots. So I'm no more than, like, 5 to 10 feet out from the basket, and just working on my form and, like, trying to make, like, 50 at each spot, and then if I have time and my dad's not too tired from rebounding, I'll be like, "Let's do it again." Then we just go back around again, and then just slowly but surely. So day by day, not trying to exhaust myself on any given day, so then just because I don't want that to discourage me to, shoot the next day, so just 1% better each day, and all those things will add up.
Now, who's a better rebounder, you or dad?
Oh gosh. Um, I
Be
feel like
careful with this answer.
um, ugh, I feel like my dad has a better sense of where the ball's gonna go when it's, like, released from the shooter, because he has a good he has a really high IQ in terms of, like, what shooter is shooting the ball and where they typically miss, so the chances of where the ball's gonna be, and so he's kinda been, a rock for me in that sense because he's been able to guide me in trying to learn where the ball's gonna be and anticipate it, just because if I just stand wherever and just, like, wait for the ball to come, it's just not gonna come to me, I have to go get it. Um, so that's my long-winded answer of saying that he's better on the IQ side, I'm better on the physical side.
Okay, that's a fair answer. We'll take that. We'll give
There's
you
your
both
happy
a
medium.
yeah, there you go. Now, let's talk about that freshman class you got coming in. You obviously know there's big expectations heading into this year. What can that freshman class do in order to help you get to that point?
You know, the sky's the limit for our freshman class, and I'm so excited for them to come in and, like, take them under our wing and show them how we do things, but for sure, they can provide some dangerous depth. I think as we see, like, these late tournament runs, it's the girls who decide the game are the ones that come in off the bench and they have like a 20-point game or stuff like that. So it's just going to be our job to prep those girls, and if they can get starting minutes, that's great. If they can come in off the bench, that's great. No matter what their role is, it's gonna be helpful because they're a bright group and they have a big future ahead of them, and I can't wait to pass the baton soon because I have a lot of trust in those girls.
Now, you head into your senior year, we already talked about that. And obviously, your team goal is most likely to win a national championship, correct?
Of
So
course, yeah.
you want to leave Chapel Hill with a banner. What is your biggest thing that you're looking to accomplish in your remaining time in college?
I think step one is the ACC championship, just the conference championship and the tournament championship, and then obviously the national championship. I think just kind of setting those goals as high as possible is kind of the way to go. Um, just because we're constantly striving to be better, and that's just the top goal. But then also one thing I want to make sure that none of my teammates forget along the process is to enjoy each other, to have fun, and to just live in the moment because college is a short 4 years, some maybe five, some six, some seven with all our COVID years and extra eligibility and whatnot. But it's just a unique experience, and not everybody gets this opportunity. So I just want everybody, especially on days like when we play Duke, we're playing in such a traditional rivalry, just like stand on the court and like just look around. Like I used to see the Duke Carolina games going on on TV in Buffalo Wild Wings in Minnesota when I'd go out with my friends, and there's like I don't know, it's such a great stage to be on, and coming at it with a sense of gratitude is a no good way to go.
Now, I don't want to put you on a spot here, but you did mention that some athletes do have an extra year of eligibility, and you're one of them. Is that something that you're considering using, or
I'm definitely going to consider it, and I think it's going to be an end of the senior year decision. So we'll have to wait on that one.
we'll leave everybody in suspense for that one? All right, I have some rapid fire questions before I let you go. All
All
right,
right,
are you ready for the fire?
let's do it.
Okay, favorite place on Franklin Street?
Al's Burger Shack. Oh, Al's Burger Shack is tied with Purple Bowl.
Oof, I gotta try both those. I didn't hit those my first trip over there.
So
I
they're
gotta
both
try
very
those.
different. One burgers, one like acai. So good.
Ooh. So what do you get at both places?
Um, Al's Burger Shack, I get a classic burger with a fried egg. You have to get a fried egg on it. It's a game changer. And then fries and a chocolate shake. Like if you're gonna go, you gotta go big or go home. And
Of
then
course.
and then Purple Bowl, I get the classic acai with strawberries and bananas, and you can put almond butter, Nutella, you name it on that bowl, and it is so great. And then the best part about Purple Bowl is the customer service. The woman who owns the place, named Paula, she is absolutely amazing, and the environment that Purple Bowl has created for like anybody that comes on Franklin Street is so homey. They take care of you there, and it's a place that you could sit in there for a couple hours.
It sounds like they should sign you to an NIL deal.
Oh yeah, I think they should too. No, but I'm gonna promote them regardless. They're just such great people.
That's awesome to hear. What's your pregame meal?
Pre-game meal is typically chicken or salmon.
Okay. Go-to pregame music. What kind of music?
Hmm, I don't know, this one's a tough one. So if I'm listening to something on like with my own headphones in, it'll probably be some type of motivational podcast. Just something to kinda get me locked in and, just pumped up, and then, it's typically some type of rap for our team.
So what's your go-to song? Do you have one?
Not really. I know it's kind of a lame answer, but I kinda listen to anything. I just have a big playlist and hit shuffle, and I just go through it.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need to do, right?
True.
Now, what is your dream job?
Dream job would be working for either Nike or Jordan Brand and working with brand partnerships, or somewhere in the marketing area, advertising, 'cause that's kind of the area that I'm studying.
You could tell you go to a Jordan Brand school. Very, very good answer there. Uh,
Right.
who do you model your game after?
A player I've always looked up to and actually who I chose my high school number after was Jimmy Butler when he was playing for the Bulls, and he was number 21. So that's the number I got my first year of high school basketball, and then just from there we were going up. So he's definitely someone I modeled my game after. So watching him in the finals was like pretty insane. He's a great athlete.
Now, why number one?
Number one for a couple reasons. So 21 was already taken by an upperclassman. So I told myself I needed to have something from the number 21, whether it was a 2, a 1, a 12. Those were pretty much my last options. um, and then there was a girl who graduated the year before I came in of the name Taylor Coonan. She is from Shakopee, Minnesota, and she wore the number one. So I gravitated towards number one because I felt like it would be kind of cool and a little sentimental to keep number one in the Minnesota pipeline. And then we have another Minnesota girl who's committed, who's going to be coming in not this year, but the following year. So if I'm graduated and gone, I'm gonna make sure that she. Well, I'll see if she wants it, but I think it'd be cool if she had number one as well.
That would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to create an all-time starting five, who would be in your starting five?
Oh, are we talking college women's basketball players?
You could make your starting five. You could do it on women's basketball. You could do it on NBA, which whatever your heart desires.
You're putting me in a tough spot here. Um, I'm gonna go. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go. As my five, I'm gonna go Ali Zalaya. My four, I'm gonna go Anya Poole. Three, I'm gonna go myself. Two, I'm gonna go Deja Kelly, and one, I'd either do Paulina Paris or Kayla McPherson. That would be my starting five,
Wow.
and we'll take anybody.
I agree. I like that starting five. I think that starting five gets the job done for us. Now,
Yes.
if you were stuck on an island with one teammate, who would it be?
It's gonna have to be Ali Zalaya because, she is a marine science major, and she's taking a scuba diving class. She's just very in tune with the environment, so I know that I would be safe and I would have food, I would have fresh water. She's just like she would know it all, and I feel like I have little to no knowledge about how to survive, in a place like that on my own, and she's also just great company. She's an awesome person. I laugh all the time when I'm around her, so I'd definitely have a great time.
That's a good answer and a well thought out one as well.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a tough question, but who's the best TikToker on the team?
Hmm. I feel like that is a tough question because there's different types of TikTokers. I feel like
Okay.
mine is a little more like, planned out content creation in terms of my like trying different athletes sports series, and then we have Deja, who's just a star with the dances, Paulina, who's also loves to dance and just do things like that. So overall I would probably say Paulina because she knows the most TikTok dances, and I always have to ask her to kind of like keep me young and tell me what's trending.
Okay, that's a good answer. The young point guard gets the nod there.
Yeah.
What is your most memorable game as a Tar Heel?
I'm gonna have to go. It's definitely any game against Duke, just because I'm a sucker for the Duke Carolina rivalry, and specifically, I would say this past season, because that morning when I woke up, I was like not feeling well. I felt like I got hit by a truck. So I was visiting our doctor. I got two IVs of fluid injected into my body, and I was kind of running on fumes going into the game. And then we just had a stellar performance as a team, and we had a sold out crowd, and there was like they were turning people away from the gym, and that's just kind of unlikely, or just it just hasn't happened in a while for our basketball program. So to have like to be running on those fumes and being in that environment, I was just so pumped to be a part of it. And then obviously to come out with a great win and enjoy that with my teammates and to celebrate with our fans was something that I will cherish forever.
Now, we labeled that game the Alyssa Ustby flu game. Does that, like, make the rivalry even more exciting for you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think that's a pretty good description for sure.
Now, other than Carmichael, because I'm sure that's probably your favorite place to play, what other arena has been your favorite so far as a Tar Heel?
I think Cameron Indoor, again, for the same reasonings that I'm talking about, is just that rivalry is like there's like you can't compare anything to it. And then I also really enjoy Notre Dame's environment that they can put on there as well. So it's awesome.
Now, we're gonna put you in the national championship game, senior year, game on the line. Would you rather hit the game-winning shot or block a potential game-winning shot?
Mm, I would I would definitely want block because I can already imagine the big scream I'm gonna let out.
Block and no foul.
Yes, block and no foul for sure. No fouling shooters at the end of the game.
Now, if you could create a dream matchup during your final couple of years in North Carolina, a team that you haven't played so far, who would you want to match up against?
I mean, I kinda wanna play all the hot big dogs right now. I wanna play Iowa, I wanna play UConn, I wanna play LSU, and there's so many more on that list that I can mention, but those are just some that, like, pop right up into my head, because I love a challenge, no matter, like, the result of a game. Obviously, everybody wants to win, but I think that that type of competition, you just can't find anywhere else, and I would just love to be in the experience and be in the same gym and play in the same moment in that same game as all of these girls that are going to be eventual legends. That's definitely an opportunity I wouldn't want to pass up.
Now, I got to bring it up, and maybe you could talk to Coach Banghart about this. The men's team's playing UConn at the Garden this year. Maybe we could do a double header here.
That would be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, but I think we are doing something of that sort. I don't know if it's for sure with that team as well, but we're working on some things behind the scenes, but we'll see if we can get something approved.
Yeah, when you're trying to get stuff approved, make sure you get to the New Jersey, New York area because you got to take care of the North Carolina fans that are in the tri-state area.
Of course, yes, and we'll do our best to make that
And
happen.
and my last question for you. This is probably going to be the toughest one I'm going to ask you. All right,
Mhm.
which teammate should we interview next?
I think you should interview Paulina Paris, because I think she has she has a very cool story, and I think her being a solo freshman is a perspective that not very many people have because I don't know another program as of recent that has had a single freshman come in and join a team, and I think, like, her perspective is very valuable because she's just been, like, absorbing everything from the upperclassmen. So yeah, she definitely has a cool story to share.
So you're going to help us set that up.
Oh, yeah, I can try my best.
All right, awesome. Once again, this is Alyssa Ustby from the UNC women's basketball program. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about a lot of different stuff from UNC to NIL to transfer portal. And we wish you the best of luck heading into your senior season. And hopefully, we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Nick. It was a blast.